Jack Miller stood by the viewport of the transport ship as it approached the massive Galactic Council station. The structure looked like a giant metal flower blooming in space, with curved petals that served as docking bays for thousands of alien vessels. Each petal represented a different member species of the Council. Jack noticed there was no petal for humans yet. That was why he was here. Jack was tall for a human, nearly 6.5 feet, with broad shoulders and a face marked by old scars that his diplomatic credentials never explained. His dark hair was cut short, military style, though he hadn't officially served in any military for 7 years. His blue eyes remained fixed on the station as he straightened his formal gray suit, making sure the Earth emblem was properly displayed on his chest. "We will dock in 10 minutes, Ambassador Miller," said the ship's captain, a woman named Diane Lewis. "Are you sure you want to go in with just one assistant? The Council can be difficult with newcomers." Jack turned and offered a small smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I'll be fine, Captain. Humanity needs this alliance. I'll make it work." Captain Lewis nodded but didn't look convinced. Everyone in the upper ranks knew about Jack's past, though they never spoke of it openly. To most of the galaxy, he was simply Ambassador Jack Miller, Earth's new diplomatic representative. Only a few knew him by another name, the Baba Yaga. The human who had ended the brutal Proxima War through means so terrible they remained classified. "Your assistant is waiting in the prep room," Diane said. "Good luck in there." Jack found Sam Green, his young diplomatic aide, reviewing notes on a tablet. Sam jumped to his feet when Jack entered. "Ambassador, I've prepared all the negotiation points and studied the Council's usual objections to new species membership. I think we have good counter-arguments for—" "Relax, Sam," Jack said, his voice calm and steady. "Remember, this is just the introduction meeting. They'll try to upset us to make us show emotion. Don't take their bait." Sam nodded eagerly. He was fresh out of the diplomatic academy, bright and full of optimism. Jack had specifically requested someone with no knowledge of military history, someone who wouldn't look at him with fear. "The Council has 27 voting members," Sam continued. "We need 18 votes to gain observer status, and 22 for full membership. The Trell hegemony will almost certainly vote against us." Jack nodded. "High Chancellor Morvik of the Trell has been vocal about keeping humans out. We fought their allies in the Proxima War." The ship shuddered slightly as it docked with the station. Jack picked up his diplomatic case, feeling the familiar weight. Inside were standard diplomatic tools, identification, and a few items that Earth Security Services had insisted he carry, just in case. "Remember," Jack told Sam as they walked toward the airlock, "no matter what they say about Earth or humans, stay calm. That's an order." "Yes, sir," Sam replied. They stepped through the airlock and were greeted by a small blue alien with 4 arms and large black eyes. The creature wore an official Council uniform and bowed slightly. "Welcome to the Galactic Council Station, humans. I am Zrit, assigned to guide you during your stay. Please follow me to processing." Jack and Sam followed the small alien through wide corridors filled with beings from dozens of worlds. Some looked almost human, while others seemed impossible. Floating gas clouds contained in mechanical shells, crystalline entities that clicked and sparkled as they moved, massive slug-like creatures leaving slime trails that smaller robots quickly cleaned up. Many aliens stopped to stare at the humans. Earth had kept to itself since the end of the Proxima War 15 years ago. For some of these beings, Jack and Sam were the first humans they had ever seen in person. "Quite the welcome committee," Jack said quietly to Sam. "They're just curious," Sam replied, though he looked nervous. Zrit led them to a security checkpoint, where several tall, insect-like aliens with hard exoskeletons scanned them with handheld devices. "These are Trell security officers," Zrit explained. "All visitors must be cleared before council meetings." One of the Trell officers, larger than the others, approached Jack. Its multiple eyes focused on him with obvious distaste. "Human," it said in a clicking voice translated through a device on its chest. "You are carrying prohibited items." Jack raised an eyebrow. "My diplomatic kit is standard issue and was approved in advance." The Trell officer's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation or possibly amusement. Humans always think rules don't apply to them. Surrender your kit for detailed inspection. Sam looked worried, but Jack simply handed over the case. Of course. Though I remind you that under Galactic law, a diplomatic representative's personal items are protected from search. The Trail took the case but didn't open it. We know about your war history, human. The Council may have invited you here, but not all of us believe your kind belongs among civilized species. Jack maintained his calm expression. The past is the past. Earth seeks peaceful relations now. After several more scans, they were finally cleared. Zrit led them through grand hallways decorated with art and cultural artifacts from member worlds. They eventually stopped before a massive door made of some golden metal. The council chamber, Zrit announced. They will call you when ready. This may take some time, as humans are last on today's agenda. 3 hours passed as Jack and Sam waited on a bench outside the chamber. Various alien delegations came and went. Finally, Zrit returned. The council will see you now, Ambassador. Miller, your aide must wait here. Sam looked disappointed but nodded. Jack straightened his jacket and followed Zrit through the huge doors. The council chamber was enormous, a perfect circle with tiered seating rising up on all sides. Representatives of 27 species sat in their designated areas, many with their own assistants and security. At the center was a speaking platform surrounded by water, a symbolic moat, Jack had learned, representing the separation between the speaker and the council's authority. High Chancellor Morvik of the Trell, Hegemony, sat in the central position of the highest tier. His large insectoid form dominated the room, his exoskeleton gleaming under the lights. Ambassador Jack Miller of Earth, announced a computerized voice, approaching to petition for Earth's membership in the Galactic Council. Jack walked across the bridge to the central platform. He could feel dozens of alien eyes on him, some curious, some hostile, some unreadable. Let us begin, Morvik announced, his translator making his clicking speech sound smooth and cold. The council acknowledges the human petition, though many question the wisdom of allowing such violent primitives into our civilized assembly. Jack showed no reaction to the insult. He had faced worse from creatures far more dangerous than politicians. He placed his hands on the podium and began the speech he had practiced for weeks. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I bring greetings from Earth and its colonies. We come seeking friendship and cooperation in this vast galaxy we all share. As he spoke, Jack noticed Morvik watching him with particular intensity. The Trell's compound eyes seemed to be studying him, searching for something. Jack continued his address, unaware that within days, these same peaceful chambers would become a battleground, and that the Diplomat would be forced to become the Baba Yaga once again. 3 days passed with little progress. Jack Miller sat through long meetings where council members questioned humans' readiness to join their ranks. They brought up Earth's wars, its environmental problems, and its quick expansion into space. Each time Jack answered with calm facts and reasonable points. He never raised his voice or showed anger, even when the questions became personal attacks. The humans hunted many species on their own planet to death, said the representative. From Vox, a planet of evolved bird-like beings. How can we trust them not to do the same across the galaxy? Earth has changed, Jack replied. We now protect endangered species and have brought many back from the edge of extinction. We have learned from our mistakes. Sam Green, Jack's young assistant, took careful notes during each session. He was impressed by how Jack stayed calm no matter what they said about humans. How do you do it? Sam asked during a break. They keep twisting facts about us. Jack sipped from a container of water. This is just how diplomacy works, Sam. They test us to see if we react badly. The quickest way to lose is to get angry. Sam nodded but looked troubled. Chancellor Morvik seems to really hate humans. He keeps bringing up the Proxima War. Jack's face showed nothing, but his hand tightened slightly around his water container. The Proxima War had been brutal. Earth had won, but at great cost. Few people knew Jack's role in ending that war, how he had earned the name Baba Yaga. The Trell. We're allies with our enemies in that war, Jack said simply. Old grudges die hard. Later that day, as another long session ended, High Chancellor Morvik approached Jack directly. The tall, insect-like alien towered over the human, his hard exoskeleton clicking as he moved. Ambassador Miller, Morvik said, his translation device, making his clicks and chirps into smooth words. Perhaps we should speak privately. There are matters that would be better discussed without the full council present. Jack's instincts, sharp from years of dangerous work, sensed a trap, but diplomatic rules gave him little choice. Of course, Chancellor, when would be convenient? Now, if you are available, my private chamber is nearby. Jack turned to Sam. Return to our quarters and prepare tomorrow's talking points. I'll join you later. Sam looked worried. Sir, protocol says you should have a witness in private meetings. Jack smiled slightly. Sometimes bending small rules helps make progress. I'll be fine. Sam reluctantly left, and Jack followed Morvik down a side corridor. Two large Trell guards joined them, walking behind Jack. Their heavy footsteps echoed on the metal floor. They entered a small, well-decorated room with views of space through a large window. The room had a table with chairs suited for both Trell and humanoid bodies. Morvik gestured for Jack to sit, then ordered the guards to stay by the door. Would you like a drink, Ambassador? We have beverages safe for human consumption. No, thank you, Jack said, sitting down carefully. What did you wish to discuss? Morvik made a sound like rocks sliding together, a Trell laugh. Direct, like most humans. Very well. He leaned forward, his compound eyes catching the light. I know who you really are. Jack kept his face neutral. I'm not sure what you mean. I am Earth's appointed representative. You are that, Morvik agreed. But you are also the one they called Baba Yaga during the Proxima War. The room seemed to grow colder. Jack didn't deny it, but he didn't confirm it either. My personal history isn't relevant to Earth's application to join the Council. Morvik's mandibles clicked rapidly. When we investigated Earth's military history, we found many interesting gaps. Operations with no named leaders. Battles with mysterious outcomes. But there were whispers among survivors about a human operative, one who moved like a ghost and struck like death itself. Jack remained still, his face showing nothing. Chancellor, if you have concerns about my credentials, my species has excellent senses, Morvik interrupted. Better than most council races know. I can smell the blood on your hands, Baba Yaga. I can sense the death you have dealt. Jack noticed the guards had moved slightly, positioning themselves to block the door more completely. The air in the room felt thicker now. Chancellor Morvik, I came here to discuss Earth's membership. Morvik suddenly pressed something on his wrist device. The lights in the room dimmed slightly. The security cameras are now off. We are not being recorded. Jack's muscles tensed, ready for trouble. That's against council rules for diplomatic meetings. The council has already voted on Earth's petition, Morvik said, standing up. His full height made the ceiling seem lower. In secret yesterday, your application has been denied. On what grounds? Jack asked, his voice still calm even as he assessed the room for escape routes and weapons. On the grounds that humans are too dangerous to join our peaceful alliance. Morvik reached into a compartment in the wall and pulled out a ceremonial-looking blade. And you, Baba Yaga, will never leave this station alive. The guards moved forward quickly. They were fast for their size, but Jack had fought Trell before. He dodged the first guard's grasp and pushed his chair into the second one. This is a violation of diplomatic law, Jack said, backing toward the window. An attack on a representative is an act of war. No one will know, Morvik said. The official report will say you attacked us in a fit of human rage when told your petition was denied. It will prove what we already decided. Humans are too violent for membership. The guards cornered Jack against the window. Each stood nearly 7 feet tall with natural armor and powerful limbs. Jack could fight them, might even win, but it would confirm everything Morvik had said about humans. There's more at stake here, Jack said. Why are you really doing this? The Proxima War ended 15 years ago. Morvik approached with the blade. Some wars never truly end, human. Your death will be the excuse we need to quarantine Earth completely. Your colonies will be isolated, your species contained until you destroy yourselves, as violent races always do. The first blow caught Jack across the forehead. He felt warm, blood run down his face, but didn't fight back yet. He needed to be certain that diplomacy was truly dead. Chancellor, there are better paths forward. Earth seeks peace. Peace is not possible with your kind, Morvick hissed. One guard grabbed Jack's arms while the other hit him hard in the stomach. Jack looked up, blood dripping into his eyes. Something was changing in his expression. The careful diplomat was fading away, replaced by something older and colder. You should have researched Earth folklore more carefully, Jack said quietly. Why is that? Morvick asked, raising the blade again. Because then you would know what the Baba Yaga truly is. Jack's voice had changed, becoming lower, more dangerous. And you would never have cornered it. Morvick paused, sensing the shift in the human. You are trapped and outnumbered. What can one human do? Jack's eyes had turned hard as steel. The careful restraint he had shown for days was gone now. The guards tightened their grip, but too late. They had been holding a diplomat. Now they were trying to hold something else entirely. The Baba Yaga isn't just a man, Jack said as he prepared to move. It's what you send to kill the boogeyman. In that moment, as Morvick swung the blade down for another strike, the carefully hidden monster inside Jack Miller finally broke free. The Baba Yaga had awakened. Time seemed to slow down for Jack Miller as Morvick's blade came toward him. Blood from his forehead wound trickled into his eye, but his vision remained sharp. The two trail guards held his arms tight, thinking they had him trapped. They were wrong. Jack dropped his weight suddenly, throwing off the guard's grip just enough. He twisted his right arm free and grabbed the wrist of the guard still holding his left arm. With a quick, practiced movement, he bent the joint backward until something cracked inside the trail's exoskeleton. The guard screeched in pain. Morvick's blade missed Jack's face by inches as the human moved. Before the Chancellor could strike, again Jack had already spun away from the injured guard and grabbed the ceremonial knife from the wall display behind him. You have made 3 mistakes, Jack said, his voice now cold and flat. First, you attacked a human diplomat, breaking galactic law. Second, you failed to kill me quickly. And third, most dangerous of all, you called me by my old name. The uninjured guard charged at Jack. The guard was strong and fast, but Jack moved like water, stepping aside at the last moment. The knife in Jack's hand found a gap in the trail's armor near the neck. Green fluid spurted out as the guard collapsed, making gurgling sounds. What are you? Morvick backed away, his mandibles clicking in fear. I told you to research Earth folklore, Jack said, advancing on the Chancellor. The Baba Yaga is not a hero. It's not even human, really. It's a force of nature, a nightmare. Morvick pressed an emergency button on his wrist device. Security. We'll be here in moments. You cannot escape this station. Jack moved faster than Morvick thought possible. The human closed the distance between them in 2 steps and knocked the Chancellor to the floor. Morvick's exoskeleton cracked under the force of the blow. I don't want to kill you, Jack said, pinning the alien leader down. I came here for peace. Tell me why you've done this. Who else is involved in this plot against Earth? Morvick tried to fight back, but Jack placed his foot on the alien's breathing tubes, a vulnerable spot few non-Trell knew about. The Chancellor stopped struggling immediately. Half the council, Morvick wheezed. We voted yesterday. Earth is considered too dangerous. Your kind spread too quickly, fight too well. The decision was made to contain your species before you could threaten us all. The room's door slid open. Jack turned to see 4 security officers rush in, weapons drawn. They stopped short at the bloody scene. 1 guard dead, another injured, and their Chancellor pinned beneath the human. This human has gone mad, Morvick shouted. He attacked us during peaceful talks. Jack knew he had seconds to decide. He could try to explain, but the evidence looked bad. The security cameras were off. Morvick had made sure of that. It would be his word against the Chancellor's. In one quick move, Jack knocked Morvick unconscious with a precise strike to his head, then dove toward the room's air vent as security opened fire. Their stun weapons discharged blue energy that crackled against the wall where Jack had just been standing. The vent cover came loose with one hard pull. Jack crawled inside just as more security officers flooded the room. He heard shouts and alarms beginning to sound throughout the station. Security alert. Human delegate considered armed and extremely dangerous. All personnel on high alert. Section 7th lockdown initiated. Jack crawled quickly through the station's ventilation system. The tunnels were tight for his large frame, but he had navigated worse spaces during the Proxima War. He needed to find a safe spot to think and plan his next move. After 20 minutes of careful movement, avoiding security patrols visible through vent openings, Jack reached a small maintenance room. He dropped down from the ceiling vent and checked the door was locked before examining his injuries. The cut on his forehead had stopped bleeding but needed cleaning. His ribs ached where the guard had hit him. "Jack Miller, this is Station Security Commander Lax," a voice announced over the station's communication system. "You are surrounded. There is no escape from this station. Surrender now, and you will not be harmed." Jack ignored the announcement and checked the small diplomatic kit hidden in a secret pocket of his suit. Earth Security Services had insisted he carry it, though he had hoped never to need it. Inside were tools that looked innocent but could be deadly in his hands. A small medical kit that contained chemicals useful for more than healing, a communication device not on the station's networks, and a few other items that would give him a fighting chance. He treated his wound, then used the communication device. It wouldn't reach Earth from here, the station's jammers were too powerful, but it might reach someone closer. "This is Ambassador Miller. Authorization code Sierra November 742. Emergency protocol Boogeyman. I repeat, Boogeyman protocol is active." The device beeped once, confirming the message had been sent to any Earth ships within range. Jack wasn't sure if his secondary team on the diplomatic vessel would receive it, but it was his best chance. Now he needed to reach the station's main communication center. If he could broadcast what really happened, send proof of the Council's betrayal to Earth and other neutral worlds, he might prevent the coming conflict. Earth would respond forcefully to an attack on its diplomat. Without clear evidence of the Council's treachery, a devastating war could follow. Jack studied the maintenance room's terminal, pulling up station schematics. Security would be watching all main corridors and transport tubes. He would need to stay in maintenance areas and service tunnels. The door to the room suddenly chimed. Someone was trying to enter. Jack quickly moved behind the door, grabbing a metal tool from a nearby shelf. The door slid open, and a small blue form stepped inside. Zrit, the Vexillian guide who had met them upon arrival. Before the alien could react, Jack had pulled him inside and closed the door, holding the metal tool to Zrit's neck. "Please don't hurt me, Ambassador." Zrit's large eyes blinked rapidly in fear. "I'm not with security, I came to help." "Why would you help me?" Jack kept his voice low, still holding the improvised weapon. "Your assistant, Sam Green. They've taken him for questioning. He said you wouldn't attack anyone without reason. He believes in you." Zrit trembled but continued. "I know of the secret vote. It wasn't fair. Many of us smaller species disagree with how the Council treats newcomers." Jack studied the small alien, looking for signs of deception. Finding none, he lowered his weapon. "I need to reach the main communication center." Zrit's eyes widened. "That's the most heavily guarded place on the station right now." "Which is why I need help," Jack said. "Can you get me station security protocols? Guard rotations?" Zrit hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, but it will take time. And you need to know, the Council is telling everyone you killed Chancellor Morvik." Jack's expression darkened. "He was alive when I left." "Maybe so," Zrit said. "But now they're saying you murdered him. There's already talk of sanctions against Earth, possibly even military action." Jack checked his stolen weapon. Time was running out. The Baba Yaga had work to do. The station was in chaos. Security teams rushed through corridors, checking every room, scanning for human life signs. Commander Lax of Station Security stood in the control center, watching screens that showed different parts of the massive structure. How can one human evade 20 search teams, she demanded, her feathered crest rising in frustration. Commander Lax was from the Opteric species, bird-like beings known for their tactical minds. The human shows knowledge of our systems, her lieutenant replied. He's staying in maintenance areas with fewer sensors. Lax had fought humans during border conflicts years ago. She respected their abilities and feared this situation. He's heading somewhere specific, not trying to escape. But where? On a nearby screen, she watched as another security team reported finding nothing. The human was proving more elusive than anyone had expected. In another part of the station, Sam Green sat in a small holding room. 2 guards stood outside his door. Sam wasn't officially under arrest, but he wasn't free to leave either. He worried about Ambassador Miller. The council announcement claimed Jack had killed Chancellor Morvick in a rage when told Earth's petition was denied. Sam didn't believe it. In the days he had worked with Jack, he had never seen the man lose his temper, even once. The door slid open, and a tall, elegant alien entered. She was Susan Kelly, the secondary human representative who had arrived on a different ship 3 days earlier. Representative Kelly. Sam stood quickly. They're saying Ambassador Miller killed the Chancellor. It can't be true. Susan's face showed nothing. Sit down, Sam. The walls have ears. She pressed a small device on her wrist, and a soft buzzing filled the room for a moment. That will block listening devices for about 2 minutes, she said quietly. Listen carefully. Jack Miller is more than just a diplomat. When he sends his emergency signal, we have protocols to follow. Sam's eyes widened. What signal? Who is he really? You don't need those details, Susan said. But I need you to be ready. When I give the word, you'll have to move quickly. Earth, forces are already responding. Back in the maintenance tunnels, Jack moved silently. Zrit had provided him with security patrol schedules and access codes before disappearing back into the station population. Jack had memorized the quickest route to the communications center. He paused at a junction in the maintenance corridor, checking for patrols. His diplomatic suit was torn and stained with blood, some his own, some belonging to the Trell guard he had been forced to wound. Jack took no pleasure in violence. The Baba Yaga wasn't about enjoyment. It was about efficiency, about doing what needed to be done when all other options were gone. Patrol 7, check junction 42B, crackled a voice from nearby. Jack pressed himself into a shadowy corner as 2 security officers passed. Once they were gone, he continued toward his target. The main communications center was 10 levels up. The most direct routes would be heavily guarded, but Jack had identified a path through service areas and emergency shafts. He reached a vertical tube used for maintenance drones and began to climb. 6 levels up, Jack heard voices and froze. 2 engineers were working on a panel just above him. He waited silently, controlling his breathing. The engineers finished their work and left, never noticing the human hanging in the shaft below them. Jack continued climbing until he reached level 54, where the communication center was located. He pulled himself into a narrow crawl space above, the ceiling panels of a main corridor. Through small gaps, he could see security teams patrolling below. The station's announcement system came on again. Attention all personnel. Human delegate Jack Miller is considered armed and extremely dangerous. He has killed 1 council member and injured several security officers. If spotted, do not approach. Contact security immediately. Jack moved carefully across the ceiling space. According to the schematics Zrit had provided, the communication center was just ahead. It would be heavily guarded, but Jack had a plan. He reached a small junction box connected to the station's environmental controls. Using tools from his kit, he carefully rewired several connections. Moments later, the lights in the corridor below flickered and went out. Emergency lighting came on, bathing everything in dim red light. Warning: environmental system malfunction in Section 7G. All personnel evacuate immediately. Toxic gas leak detected. The security team guarding the communication center door looked at each other in confusion. Their orders were to remain at their post, but the warning sounded serious. After a brief discussion, they decided to fall back to a safe distance while keeping the door in sight. As soon as they moved away, Jack dropped silently from the ceiling panel. He approached the door and entered the access code Zrit had provided. The door remained locked. "They've changed the codes," Jack muttered. He pulled out a small device from his kit and attached it to the door's control panel. After 30 seconds of work, the door slid open. Inside, 3 technicians looked up in surprise as Jack entered. They reached for alarm buttons, but Jack was faster. Using his stun weapon, he disabled all 3 before they could call for help. He made sure they were merely unconscious, not seriously harmed. Jack quickly moved to the main console. The communication center controlled all broadcasts to and from the station, as well as communications with ships in the surrounding space. If he could access the system, he could send evidence of the Council's treachery to Earth and any listening, neutral worlds. He inserted a small data chip from his diplomatic kit into the console. It contained specialized programs designed by Earth's security services. The screen flickered as the programs began breaking through security measures. "Access granted," the computer announced after 2 tense minutes. Jack worked quickly, accessing the station's security recordings. He found footage from outside Morvik's chamber showing Jack entering peacefully with the Chancellor. He downloaded it to his data chip. Next, he located internal communications between Council members discussing the secret vote against Earth. "This is all the evidence I need," Jack said to himself. He prepared a broadcast message that would transmit to all frequencies. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. The door to the communications center slid open, and Commander Lax entered with 6 armed security officers. "Step away from the console, human," Lax ordered, her weapon aimed at Jack's chest. Jack raised his hands slowly, but didn't move away from the console. "Commander, the Council has broken galactic law. They secretly voted against Earth, then tried to kill me to cover it up." "Chancellor Morvik is dead," Lax said. "His breathing tubes were crushed. That's an execution method from the Proxima War, human, very specific." "He was alive when I left him," Jack insisted. "Someone else killed him to frame me. Probably the same people who arranged the secret vote." Lax's weapon didn't waver. "I have orders to take you into custody. Come quietly or by force." Jack studied the commander. She seemed professional, possibly reasonable. "Before you arrest me, look at this evidence." He nodded toward the screen showing Morvik leading him into the chamber with 2 guards. Why would a diplomat planning murder bring no weapons and allow himself to be outnumbered? Lax glanced at the screen, her expression uncertain. "That proves nothing." "There's more," Jack said. "Council communications about a secret vote. Plans to use my death as an excuse for action against Earth. Just give me 5 minutes to show you." Before Lax could respond, the station shook violently. Emergency alerts sounded on every screen. "Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel," one of Lax's officers reported. 6 vessels Earth design. They're hailing us on all frequencies." Jack allowed himself a small smile. His emergency signal had reached someone after all. The Baba Yaga would not face this fight alone. The station shook again as the Earth ships moved into defensive positions. On the main screen in the communications center, a woman in an Earth fleet uniform appeared. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, and her expression was as hard as stone. "This is Admiral Nicole Adams of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have received Ambassador Miller's emergency signal and evidence of Council treachery. We demand his immediate release and the surrender of all Council members involved in this conspiracy." Commander Lax looked from the screen to Jack, her weapon still aimed at his chest. "You planned this all along, an invasion force." Jack shook his head. "Not an invasion. Protection. I sent an emergency signal when I was attacked. Standard diplomatic protocol." He nodded toward the console. "The evidence is all there, Commander. The Council broke its own laws. They voted in secret against Earth's membership, then tried to kill me to create an excuse for action against my planet." Before Lax could respond, the station's acting council head, a Meridian named Voss, broke into the communication channel. "Earth, vessels, this is acting council head Voss. Your diplomat killed Chancellor Morvik in a violent rage. This human is a criminal, not a victim. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. Jack pressed a button on the console, entering the same channel. "This is Ambassador Jack Miller. I did not kill Chancellor Morvick. I was attacked in his chambers after he revealed a secret council vote against Earth. I defended myself but left him alive. Someone else killed him after I escaped." Admiral Adams spoke again. "We have reviewed the evidence Ambassador Miller transmitted. Our ships will remain in position until he is safely returned to Earth custody." Lax looked troubled. She had been a soldier before becoming security chief. She understood duty, but also believed in justice. "What evidence do you have that you didn't kill the Chancellor?" Jack pulled up the security footage on the main screen. "Look at the timestamps. Here I enter Morvick's chamber. Here, 20 minutes. Later, emergency teams respond to the alarm. But look at this footage from the corridor outside." The screen showed a figure in council robes entering Morvick's chamber 15 minutes after Jack had escaped through the air vent. "Who is that?" Lax asked. "I don't know," Jack admitted. "The angle doesn't show their face. But whoever it is, they entered after I was gone and before Morvick was found dead." Lax's lieutenant checked his device. "The figure used Chancellor Morvick's personal access code to enter. That's not possible unless someone took his access device," Jack finished. "Someone who wanted him dead and me blamed." The station shook again, harder this time. Alarms blared throughout the complex. "Council defense systems are activating," one of the security officers reported. "They're targeting the Earth ships." Jack turned to Lax urgently. "This will start a war. Millions will die on both sides. You have to help me stop this." Lax lowered her weapon slightly. "What do you propose, human?" "Let me broadcast the full evidence to every species in the Council and beyond. No secrets. Let everyone see what really happened." After a moment of consideration, Lax nodded. "Do it quickly." Jack turned to the console and began the broadcast. Security footage, internal communications, the secret vote results, all went out across every channel. He included the medical data showing Morvick had been alive when Jack escaped, but died later from a precisely targeted blow. "This is Ambassador Jack Miller of Earth," he said into the broadcast. "I came to the Galactic Council seeking peace and cooperation. Instead, I found conspiracy and attempted murder. I did not kill Chancellor Morvick. The evidence shows someone else entered his chamber after I escaped. They wanted war between Earth and the Council. We must not give them what they want." As the broadcast went out, the station's defense systems suddenly powered down. The Earth ships held their positions without firing. For several tense minutes, everyone in the communications center waited silently. Then Admiral Adams spoke again. "Commander Lax, we request safe passage for a diplomatic shuttle to dock with your station. We wish to retrieve our ambassador and continue discussions properly." Before Lax could answer, Representative Susan Kelly entered the communications center with Sam Green and several council members from smaller species. "Commander," Susan said, "these council representatives wish to affirm that they never voted on Earth's petition. Whatever vote Chancellor Morvick claimed happened was illegal under council law." One of the council members, a small reptilian being, stepped forward. "We have been reviewing records since Ambassador Miller's broadcast. There was no official vote. Chancellor Morvick acted with a small group of allies, not the full council." Jack looked at the gathered officials. "Then who killed him? Who wanted war badly enough to murder a council chancellor?" As if answering his question, the door to the communications center opened again. A tall, elegant figure entered. Council member Drav of the Zellan Confederacy. Jack recognized him as one of Morvick's closest allies on the council. "This has gone far enough," Drav announced. "The human must be handed over for proper justice." Lax stepped between Drav and Jack. "Council member, new evidence suggests Ambassador Miller is not responsible for the Chancellor's death." "Nonsense," Drav said dismissively. "The human is clearly guilty." Jack watched Drav carefully. "You seem very certain of that, council member. Yet you haven't even reviewed the evidence we just found." Drav's hand moved toward something hidden in his robes. Jack noticed the movement and tensed, ready to act. "Commander Lax," Jack said quietly. "Ask Council Member Drav where he was when Chancellor Morvick was killed." Lax looked at Drav with new suspicion. Council member, for the record, what was your location during the incident? I was in session with other council members, Drav said too quickly. That's not true, the reptilian council member said. You left the session early, claiming you were ill. Everything happened very fast after that. Drav pulled a weapon from his robes, aiming at Jack. Before he could fire, Jack moved with the speed that had made him legendary during the Proxima War. He knocked the weapon aside and pinned Drav to the wall. The Zelans never wanted peace with humans, Jack said, holding Drav immobile. You killed your own ally to frame me and start a war. Security officers took Drav into custody. A search revealed he was carrying Chancellor Morvik's personal access device. Hours later, Jack stood in a proper council session. His diplomatic suit had been replaced, his wounds treated. Admiral Adams stood beside him, along with Susan Kelly and Sam Green. The remaining council members had gathered for an emergency session. The council extends its deepest apologies to Earth and to Ambassador Miller personally, the new acting Chancellor said. The actions of Chancellor Morvik and Council Member Drav do not represent our values or intentions. Jack stepped forward to address the council. Earth still seeks peaceful relations with all species. We ask only for fair consideration of our petition for membership. The acting Chancellor nodded. A fair and transparent vote will be held soon. For now, we offer observer status to Earth as a gesture of goodwill. As the session concluded, Sam approached Jack. Sir, there's something I don't understand. How did you manage to fight off those guards and escape? The Trell are supposed to be incredibly strong. Jack smiled slightly. Good diplomatic training, Sam. That's all. But Sam had heard whispers among the Earth security team. They call you the Baba Yaga. What does that mean? Jack looked out at the stars visible through the council chamber's grand window. It's just an old Earth legend. Nothing important now. As Earth's ship stood watch outside, Jack Miller returned to being just a diplomat. The Baba Yaga could rest, at least for now. But the council would never forget the human they had foolishly underestimated, the diplomat who was so much more than he seemed.